Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is KJ Ricardo. This is a different kind of video this week. I'm in front of the camera, which I'm not usually in front of the camera, but I decided to do a questions and answers video, a Q&A. A lot of you have been sending me questions this week, questions that you might have about I Love Lucy or Lucille Ball or my connection to the show. So I'm going to let you sit back and I'll answer all of the questions you might have. So let's get started and welcome to my I Love Lucy story. I started watching I Love Lucy when I was 2 years old, so I've been a fan for a really long time. My mom introduced me to I Love Lucy, and there's actually a story. I've shared the story many times. When I was 2 years old, my mom was shopping at Kmart, and I, of course, was with her, and I was in the shopping cart seat. And out of nowhere, I just started shouting, "I kiss Bill Holden, I kiss Bill Holden." And if you're a fan of I Love Lucy, you know that that's a line from LA at Last, when Lucy meets William Holden. I said that at 2 years old. I had no idea who William Holden was, and I'm sure other people in the grocery store were probably wondering, what's this 2-year-old saying? So I've had a really long connection with I Love Lucy, and I've been watching it since I was 2 years old. It wasn't really until I was in high school when I fell more in love with the show and Lucille Ball herself, when I started to learn more about her biography, the amazing things that she did, and so that's really where my obsession started, and the rest is history. My favorite episode actually is LA at Last. It's really because of that nostalgic memory of me saying I kissed Bill Holden in the middle of Kmart. So I obviously loved this episode since I was 2 years old. Every time I watch that episode, I just laugh like I'm watching it for the very first time. It's just iconic, a timeless episode. I love William Holden. He's such an amazing 1950s heartthrob. And so I love that episode. Every single scene is well done, well written. From the Brown Derby scene, that scene gets me every time, to the final scene when she puts on the disguise and she kisses Bill Holden. Everything about that episode is great. So if you haven't watched that episode, what are you waiting for? Watch it right now. Well, I started the YouTube channel first. I started that in March 2017, so it's still fairly new, a little over a year. And I was inspired actually by another YouTuber, Rick 9G. So here's a shout out to his channel. I watched a lot of his videos on I Love Lucy, and I thought to myself, why don't I try making my own videos? I have a lot of knowledge to share with fellow Lucy fans as well. And so I started it, and then people started watching the videos, and it kind of took off from there. In terms of the Instagram account, I do run an I Love Lucy Instagram account. It's called @everythinglucilleball. I started that last June 2017. I started that pretty much the same way. I saw many other I Love Lucy fandom accounts, and I thought to myself, why don't I join in? And it was the best decision I could have made, because it's an amazing community of people who love I Love Lucy and Lucille Ball. We share pictures every single day, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful community of people, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Well, I'm not directly connected, like I'm not related to Lucille Ball or Desi or Inez or any of the cast members, so I don't have that direct connection, but I did grow up watching the show, and so I very much believe that the show is a part of me. I would not be the same person I am today if I hadn't grown up watching I Love Lucy, if I wasn't a fan of the show. A huge part of my life would be missing. And so I'm a part of the I Love Lucy family, and I always will be. And another way I am connected is that I worked at the Lucy Desi Museum and Center for Comedy in Jamestown, New York. During the summer of 2016, I worked as a summer intern, and it was the best internship I could have asked for. I worked in the communications and marketing department, and I met a lot of people, including Joe Meyer, who played Little Ricky on I Love Lucy. Yes, he was one of the twins who played during the third season of I Love Lucy, third and fourth season of I Love Lucy, and I met him, and I talked to him. And fun fact, I actually drove his family to a location in Jamestown, so Little Ricky was in my car, which is pretty cool. And that's my connection as far as right now. Who knows what will happen in the future? There are many quotes on I Love Lucy about love and marriage that really speak out to me, but looking at their personal life, Lucy and Desi, there's one quote that really speaks to me and I love every single time, and it was the quote actually spoken after Desi Arnaz passed away, and Lucille Ball was being presented an award at the Kennedy Center Honors, and the speaker said, in a speech written by Desi Arnaz, that I Love Lucy was never just a title. And I love that quote so much.
Desi concluded, Lucy was the show. Viv and Fred and I were just props. Damn good props, but props nevertheless. P.S. I Love Lucy was never just a title.
There are so many photos of them that I love, from their early days when they were courting, when they were dating, the photo of them sharing a milkshake when they were dating. I love that photo, but there's another photo that I love and I always will love, and it's actually towards the end of their marriage when I Love Lucy was ending, and they're hugging each other on the set, and it's like it's the last time they will ever hug each other. You could just see the emotion in their eyes, that they know that I Love Lucy is over, but they also know that their marriage is over. And it's a sad photo, but it's one of my favorites. Well, I am going to keep this answer very short and sweet to the point, but unfortunately, Desi's drinking problems and womanizing, they did have an effect on their marriage. It got to the point where they just couldn't be married to each other anymore, but even though they got a divorce, they still loved each other in their hearts. They were connected together. They were still friends for their children, and in fact, Lucille Ball was the last person to speak to Desi before he passed away. And so they were friends and they still loved each other. They just couldn't be married. This was a fun question. I enjoyed coming up with answers to this. So there are many fun facts that I love about Lucille Ball. A lot of them are from her childhood in Jamestown, New York, that I learned while I was in Jamestown. For example, she was really close to her grandpa because he was like a father figure to her. Her dad died when she was 4 years old, and so her grandpa, Grandpa Hunt, was really, really close with her. Another fun fact is that she was kind of scared of birds. She was okay with live birds. So in the Lucy and Superman episode, when she's outside outside the apartment and the pigeons are around her, she was okay with that, but she didn't like pictures of birds. So that's a fun fact. Another fun fact is that she is a distant cousin of Ginger Rogers. So they were close to each other in their family tree, and Ginger Rogers' mom actually took really good care of Lucille Ball when she moved out to Hollywood. She acted like a stage mom and helped set up movie roles for her. Other fun facts is about I Love Lucy with Lucille Ball. She took care of people on set. Fun fact, during the episode The Fashion Show, Sheila McRae appears in this episode. Lucy personally asked her to appear on the show because Sheila recently had a miscarriage. Lucille Ball knew very personally what it felt like to have a miscarriage because she had multiple miscarriages in the 1940s. So she asked Sheila, her good friend, if she wanted to come on the show to help her cope with the pain and loss, and so Lucy could comfort her a little bit, and I just love that so much. She took care of everyone on the set. They both treated the set and the crew like they were family to them. And another last little fun fact is that the little Ricky twins in seasons 3 and 4, in the episode Lucy and John Wayne, when little Ricky gets into the cement, he didn't want to have his shoes get dirty. The little Ricky didn't want his shoes to get dirty, get messed up, because his mom recently bought him new shoes. And so what did Lucy do? She bought him new shoes. And I just love that. This is a really hard question because obviously there are so many great lines from I Love Lucy. So I am just going to list off a few of my favorites. I love the line in Ricky's contract. This is featuring Fred, when Fred made up the fake, "You got the call from Hollywood," and they're asking Fred, "How could you do this?" And he says, "I don't know, I was half crazed with hunger." I love that line. And another line I really enjoy from Fred too is from LA at Last, when they're at the Brown Derby, when they're looking at the menus and Lucy says, "No, it's my treat. Ricky gave me the money." And he says, "Oh, I can look at this side of the menu now." Or also later on in that very scene too, when he jumps up at Ava Gardner's name and Ethel says, "She's just people like you and me." And he says, "Well, she may be people, but she's not like you and me." I love that episode as well, and that line from that episode. Other lines I really love from Ethel's birthday. Lucy says to Ethel, "Happy birthday, and I hope you live another 75 years. That's such a savage line to say. Some other lines I really enjoy, of course, "I Kiss Bill Holden." That's one of my favorites. I've been saying that since I was 2 years old. Some others, there's just lines from every single episode. There's a great line in every single episode, and it just shows how talented the writers were for coming up with great dialogue that is still memorable 65 years later. There would be many scenes I would love to have had the opportunity to sit in the studio audience and watch, but the one I'm going to choose is the episode Lucy is Anciente. I love that episode, but it just would have been so special to watch the filming of that episode because Lucy and Desi, they weren't acting in that scene. They were genuine. Their emotions are very real. They get caught up in their real emotions because they were actually expecting a child, and you could just see how happy they were. And so it would have been amazing to watch that scene at the nightclub, to watch it unfold, and also to be a part of history, because as we know, Lucille Ball was the first pregnant woman on television, and that episode announced that. And so it would have been incredible to watch that. I do a lot of research. I am really interested in their personal lives, Lucy and Desi's personal lives. So I read biographies, memoirs. I read books about the production history of I Love Lucy. I look up articles online. I'm just really fascinated about I Love Lucy and Lucille Ball, and I always have been. I am the nerd, nerd in a good way, but I'm the nerd who wrote school reports about I Love Lucy when I was in high school, and in college I wrote presentations about I Love Lucy. It's just a topic that has always been fascinating to me, and so I'm always happy to learn more information about that, and I'm always happy to share that with you. Oh man, if I could have met Lucille Ball, I would have asked her so many questions or told her so many things. I would have thanked her first. First and foremost, I would have thanked her for providing my favorite show in the whole world, for inspiring me on a daily basis. I look up to her so much as a role model, for she was the first woman to run a production company. So maybe I would have asked her what that was like to be the first woman to run a production company. It would be interesting to see what she would say, but maybe I would ask her all kinds of questions about I Love Lucy, the behind the scenes facts that aren't in the books. I would ask her those kind of questions, and it would be a wonderful little tea party. The real question is, what's not to like about I Love Lucy? There's so many wonderful things about I Love Lucy. I grew up watching the best show possible. The show taught me so much about love and marriage, friendship between the Mertzes and the Ricardos, having adventures, laughing at yourself, because Lucy laughs at herself. She gets into schemes and she finds her way out of them, usually with the help of Fred and Ethel. And it's just a wonderful show, and it teaches so many wonderful things. And it's a show that has withstood the test of time. It's a timeless show. People today can still laugh at it. It's clean comedy, which I really enjoy as well. And it's just a show that teaches you to laugh, to take time to remember what's important in life, and just laugh, because I think we always need to remember to laugh, to let go of some of the stresses in our life and just laugh. And I Love Lucy definitely does that. And so I love Lucy, and I always will. And that's it. That's all I have for you this week. I really enjoyed answering your questions. You sent in wonderful questions for me to ask, and I hope that I answered them all in a way that you will enjoy as well. So thank you for watching and following and subscribing to my channel. I'm almost up to 150 subscribers. That's amazing to me. I appreciate your support every single week, and so I really do. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. And remember to always, just like what I Love Lucy does every time I watch it, remember to always laugh often. Bye, guys.